Wow, we're just back again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you once more. This is Timmy TV, a lucrative TV that educates, empower, and equip the people with information concerning global affairs. But today we will be talking about Southern Cameroon, and my guest in the studio is the same person, Didas. We shall be discussing issues pertaining to transportation in the Southern Cameroon from the 1960s. Stay tuned and follow us on Timmy TV. Yes, Didas. We have been discussing issues concerning the economic aspects of Southern Cameroon, and I also listened to you when you discussing the other part of our interview concerning other issues. But I want us to make emphasis this time around on the transportation system in Southern Cameroon from the 1961. So, I read somewhere that there was an airstrip in there were airstrips in some parts of Southern Cameroon. Please, can we elucidate on this?
That's correct, that's correct.
So that our listeners will also be learning more.
That's correct. I think, Mark 40, let me actually make our listeners understand our losses in this fake union with our public. In Southern Cameroon, Ambazonian, before 1960 and after 1960 to about 1972, we had what they call CAT, Cameroon Air Transport, or we call it Southern Cameroon Air Transport. That was our airline. And the creation of CAT was because of CDC. This airline was created because of CDC.
The Cameroon Development Corporation.
The Cameroon Development Corporation, that's correct. So what happened was that the main hub of this airline was in Tico. So what happened was that the guys who were piloting the planes there, they realized that the capacity of the airline was so big that they could not use that airline only for transporting CDC produce. So they visited Foncha, the then Prime Minister. They said, Mr. Prime Minister Foncha, it seems you are underusing the airline because this airline is bigger than CDC. So Foncha asked them, okay, what do we do? They said, we would love you to introduce domestic transport. So which means that CAT now was being expanded from CDC oriented activity to domestic transport. And for Southern Cameroon to have done that.
So it was created mainly to transport agro products.
At the start.
Cash crops.
Correct, at the start.
Okay, well, because CDC was producing
cash
we're
crops.
not producing just banana
and for export.
And rubber.
Yeah,
okay.
that's correct. That's for the start. So when they suggested this idea to Prime Minister Foncha threw it back to them. So what do you want us to do? They say you can expand this thing to domestic transport. To achieve domestic transport means that what? You needed domestic airports.
Yes.
So what happened was that Manfe Airport was created, Bisamaban was created, Bali Airport was created, Bafut Airport was created. So when this airport was created, with the Tico Airport being the main hub, with CAT converging at Tico, that's how domestic air transport started in Ambazonian. Foncha in his own words will tell you, it was cheaper, easier, flexible to travel within Southern Cameroon by air than by road at that time, before we ever joined Republic. So which means that to go from Kumba or from Tico to Manfi by air was cheaper and easier and accessible at that time, before ever joined La Republic. Now, when we joined La Republic, what happens? The first thing was a CAT, the main airline that we had, was destroyed. The Tico airport was abandoned. And of course, you destroyed CAT, you abandoned Tico airport, which was a hub. What will happen with Manfi and the rest? That's it, they'll be abandoned. So that's how we lost this air transport, lost the airport, lost everything. You will be very shocked and surprised that Mr. Paul Biya, who is the current president of La Republic now, in 2010 or 2011, around that time, was about to visit Boya, which is the regional capital of Southern Zone, landed in the abandoned Tico airport.
Which means the airport is still usable.
Of course, it's still usable, just a matter of time to renovate it.
Don't we say this is greed or envy of it?
Yeah, we put it all together, they fall in one basket. Greed, envy. No, let me tell you something. From the one when we joined La Republic of Cameroon, the whole idea of this whole way to put us economically down so that we become dependent and become slaves. Because if there's anything that a man can stand tall, it's the economic power. The moment you take away the economic power from anybody, then you have control of that person. So that's exactly what they are doing. Mr. Paul Biya, 2011, landed at the same Tico airport that he abandoned.
You see, when I listen to things like this, it surprises me because such things can only happen in Africa.
Of course.
In the Western world, the leader alone cannot decide. Because the people speaks, the people's voice is higher and taller than the politicians.
Unfortunately, that is why the Ambazonians, that's why the Ambazonians are crying because we had this system where we could decide as a people when we were on our own. But unfortunately, we went and joined these people where everything is coming from one man. Remember, these people had been colonized by France where there was this system of one-man rule, which they are trying to induce into us. And then when he landed at the Tico airport, he cooked a lie. And when he goes back to Yaoundé, they were going to make arrangement to rejuvenate the airport. And he said, where is it? Then, as Tico airport was there, as the hub, what happened? Economically, Tico as a town was busy. Tico was booming.
But there's something, sorry to cut you, there's something I actually look at when I listen to this type of issues. Because it's like the president has utmost or maximum power to decide things of the state. But where is the Senate? Where is the parliament? Where are the parliamentarians? Where are the councillors?
Those are rubber stamp institutions.
So when we look at this now, you see that the country is being ruled by one person, and if the person makes a mistake, then the whole country suffers of that. The consequences.
That is exactly what is going on.
Which is a contrast in the Western world.
Very contrast. The parliament, like you said, the Senate, the councils or whatever, they are rubber stamps. They are rubber stamped because from the parliamentarian to the Senate are handpicked. When they are handpicked, it means that they are remote controlled by the president. So in essence, all of them, okay, see like what is happening in Ambazonian. It is 3 years and counting since this crisis started. The parliament cannot muster the courage to put this on the agenda. The Senate cannot muster the courage to put this on the agenda. So that tells you that they are still waiting for the almighty president to tell them what to do. So it is all rubber stamps.
So but when we talk about air transport or airstrips transport, so what about the I would call it the naval transportation or water transportation? Because I know there are a lot of rivers in most parts of southern Cameroon that run from littoral to the Indian region right up to Cross River in Nigeria and to Manu division.
That's
Manu
correct.
region.
That's correct.
The Manu River.
That's correct. We have what we call
the basin.
Even to Ambaz Bay, where you have the Limbe part of the
Victoria,
Ambaz Bay. Yeah, that's correct. Victoria, sorry. Thanks for that correction. You see, what is the problem now is Ambazonian is very located and well placed because of all these water bodies. Now, when we were on our own without joining these people, or in the early days when we were with them, we had the Tico Wharf. The Tico Wharf was a river port which was saving us, linking us with Nigeria in terms of commercial activity. So now, the activity in the Tico Wharf was so huge that it was almost like a small seaport. Goods from Ambazonian could be transported to Nigeria, goods from Nigeria and other services could be transported to Ambazonian. It was so busy, custom was making huge money there, Tico was booming and stuff like that. When we joined these people and with their fake unification in 1972, the Tico Wharf has been closed. Instead of us expanding Tico Wharf, it has been closed. Talk less of the Limbe deep seaport that is laying idle there.
But that Limbe seaport just appeared to be one of the biggest in West Africa.
It is. It's not appeared.
And the safest.
It is. It is. For some reason, African Development Bank had done feasibility studies in Ambazonia to develop Limbe deep seaport. And by their study, they saw that it was the cheapest airport, deep seaport in the world to be developed in terms of cost. Their estimate shows that it would need just less than $1 billion to develop.
Make sure the camera.
Yeah, it would need just less than $1 billion to develop the Limbe deep seaport. After they have sent us feasibility study to the presidency, you know what happened? Mr. Paul Biya said no, they should go and do feasibility study by the Kribi.
Kribi, what that is in the
La Republic. So when they went to Kribi, they did their feasibility study. They told Paul Biya that to develop a seaport in Kribi would take 10 times the financial value of what Limbe could take. That's if Limbe was 1 billion, Kribi would need 10 billion.
And they went for 10 billion.
We are still coming. Then the what they call the dividends. They look at the dividends.
Yes.
They said a seaport in Limbe is so strategic and so economically visible, financially would generate more dividend because it would mean that the eastern part of Nigeria will be shipping from Limbe, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The eastern part of Nigeria, and Nigeria is a huge population. So if the eastern part alone can be taking their things from Limbe, that's big money that will come into.
Port Harcourt, from Port Harcourt.
Yeah. So that was what the African Development Bank said. Compared to Kribi, where is close to Equatorial Guinea and Gabon, which are small countries already having their own seaports, they will not need any extra comments around Kribi. So when they did all these studies and sent to Biya, Biya still insisted that Kribi should be developed in place of Limbe or Victoria. So what happened was the authorities of African Development Bank concluded that the development in Cameroon is not based on the accessibility, it's based on a political decision. And it comes back to the one-man show we are talking about. Economists have sat down, come up with a feasibility, tell you the long-term effect, the short-term effect, everything, the financial consequences, but you decide that it should be done your own way irrespective of the consequences. So that's exactly what, that is the main reason why Ambazonians want to get out of this rubbish before it becomes too late. It's late, but we don't want it to go too late. Because we cannot continue like this. We can't. Believe me. We may not separate in my lifetime, but it's going to happen. For sure.
However, ladies and gentlemen, that is what is happening in some part of Cameroon. In West Africa, they call it Ambazonian Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroons, or the Cameroons in general. It's hard to believe that that is the world and that is politics. But we believe in Timmy TV that the government is made of the people and not an individual. And the people are more. The voice of the people is more than that of an individual. And no individual can stand high than the people, because the people make the nation. An individual cannot make a nation. However, we think as the Southern Cameroonians are struggling with their liberation, they are having this in mind, that politics has to take the third place The people have to come first. The nation have to come first. The people